What's up, guys? Today I have no voice because I've worked the past like 5 days because of Black Friday and working at Best Buy, and oh my god, I literally wanted to die my last shift. Like, I'm not even kidding. Holy crap, that was like one of the most painful shifts I had to work. And now I've caught a cold, and it's just been rough. And I apologize for not posting yesterday. I usually post every other day, or at least I try to, but I didn't get one out. So I'm shooting this late at night, so hopefully I get to post this tonight, late. But if I post it in the morning, then there you go. So today, I'm shooting a video that was very highly requested. Out of all the trick tips that I've been requested to do, this one is probably the most prominent, and it is heel flips. So today, we're going to be learning how to do heel flips. Now, a heel flip in skateboarding is when you use your heel to make the board go like that, okay? It's rotating basically away from your body. And use your heel, if this was an actual foot, okay, you would use your heel to drag off this part of the board, and it makes that rotation. Now, that's in skateboarding. There's a completely different method for heel flips on a fingerboard. This is what kind of like a heel flip looks like in action. It's just like that. Pretty easy trick once you get it down. It's just like a kick flip, but the complete other direction. So, the first thing to heel flips is knowing finger positioning. And the finger positioning in heel flips is going to be one straight on the tail. And when I talk about on the tail, I'm talking about on the tail. I'm not talking about like here. I'm not talking about here. I'm talking on the tail, okay, the tip. You can basically feel some wood on there, okay? Right there. And then the other finger a little bit like behind the bolts, just a little bit. It can be a little bit on the bolts, but I always suggest to be kind of like in the frontish middle part of the board, okay? That's where your finger positioning is going to be. It's a pretty comfortable finger positioning, in my opinion. I always like doing all my tricks from this stance. I really like this stance. I feel like it gives me a lot of control. You want to make sure this this index finger is in the center of the board as well, or a little bit to the edge over here, because when you want to get that rotation, this way, you're going to want to have it a lot of room to flick, okay? So, first step. You got your fingers in those positioning, all right? You pull back, and when you pull back, all right, I know people are saying, oh, you can't pull back to do tricks, it doesn't count. Okay, when you're learning a trick, you always got to make sure you're pulling back, okay? If I'm doing a kickflip just from flat, it's hard, okay? If you're doing a kickflip flat, all right, you can do it in motion, right? You can do a kickflip in motion, but if you're doing it flat and you're trying to learn a trick, you can pull back to do that. It's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. So pull back a little bit, okay? And what you're going to want to do is, here's the most crucial step, the 100% most crucial step with heel flips, is making sure that you're curling the tips of your fingers like this. Like you're freaking revving a motorcycle bike. Okay, that's what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're curling your fingers like this, like you're scooping some ice cream, all right? So you want to do that, right? Make sure you're getting that little scoop, because if you try to do with your fingers flat and try to do a heel flip, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's never going to work. You need to curl your fingertips as a heel in skateboarding would work. So you're kind of replicating the heel on the foot by curling your fingers. So when you're doing it, you see how my fingers all of a sudden start to curl a little bit? So this is like my kick flip. Fingers are flat, right? This is me going for a heel flip. I've automatically got my fingers arched a little bit because I know I'm going to have to go like that. And I'm going to have to come out, and I'm basically pushing them down, but pushing them out at the same time. And then, of course, sliding it off this part of the board. So the whole motion and all is a combination of the curl, the out, okay? You're going to have your hand come forward a little bit, and then the up and away, okay? So you pop your board like an ollie. If you know how to do the kickflip, that's even better, because you already know that kind of thing. Just reverse that and go the opposite direction, but make sure you curl them fingers. If you're not popping it when your fingers aren't curled, you're not going to get any rotation. So pop, curl, down. Make sure you're doing it with this finger too. Just don't pull it too much, or you're going to end up with an inward heel flip, or don't do it too less, a varial heel flip. Make sure you're doing it equally on both sides so that you get that nice heel flip rotation. And a lot of the times you are going to have that kind of like land right here with that varial heel flip. Just make sure you're keeping it all the way centered and not doing all too much with your back finger. So make sure you get that right off there, because if you're flicking it here, it's not going to go well. If you're flicking it up here, it's not going to rotate enough. Make sure you're flicking it off right here. That's probably the hardest part. Getting that curl is pretty easy once you get it down, but flicking it off the right part of the board is a little more difficult. Make sure when you're doing your heel flips that you're flamboyantly flying your hand out there, okay? Because that's how long it took me. That's how difficult it was to do heel flips for me. I was throwing my hand out there just to try to get some rotation, and it's not in that throw, okay? Do it if you want to figure out how it works, because that's how it worked for me, but it's not in that, it's not in how hard you throw your hand that way. It's all about how hard you curl your fingers. So if you're barely curling your fingers, you're not going to get that rotation, but if you're very much curling your fingers, you'll get that rotation every time, and you'll be able to land it. So you got to make sure you're curling your fingers, and you extend your hand just a little bit, very sharply, to get that rotation. If you do it very sharply, instead of just lazily doing it, then you'll get that every time. You gotta make sure you do it sharp and fast, and make sure you're curling your fingers when you do it. It feels very weird too, and I think another thing that helps is kind of like pulling it closer to you, like against the wheel. It's kind of doesn't make sense, you know, but it helps you learn the trick. Kind of pull it towards you a little bit like that, and then all of a sudden jolt your fingers out, because it'll already give you that against motion. So it's like, if you pull back and you gotta go forward like that, you get that rotation a lot easier. So it's like, you see how I did that? Just by pulling it back and going like that. Just 100% make sure you're curling those fingers and that you're coming off this part of the board. So it's like in slow motion, if I were to do it in slow motion without any slow motion, you know what I'm saying? It's like a pop, but you're not even popping all the way. You're curling that finger, you're curling this finger, you're coming off and away, okay? Make sure you're coming off and away, because you're going that way. But it's like the tips of your fingers are the only thing that's affecting it. Because if you use this whole finger, then this is going to prevent it. You know, the bottom of your fingers are going to prevent it from rotating. So you need to make sure that you get your, fingers arched so that the only thing that's dragging off is your tips. Because you don't want to be blocking your own rotation. Because if you're blocking your own rotation, then of course you're not going to get the rotation. And, yeah, heel flips are awesome, guys. It's a really, really good trick that you should learn. It shows how versatile you are, and it's a great thing to use in skate, because then you can evolve it and start to learn things like varial heel flips, and like laser flips, which is like one of my favorite tricks in general. I love laser flips and like big heels and things like that. It's just a really versatile trick that I think everybody should learn. So overall, to do the heel flip, you're going to want to make sure that you're pushing up and out with these tips. Only the tips of your fingers. Only the tips. You can't be heel flipping with your fingers flat, because the motion's not going to happen. Make sure you're doing it with the tips of your fingers, or just curling them just like that. Just like that, you're curling them. You know what I just forgot, guys? I completely forgot to connect my mic. And I have a mic for my camera, and I completely forgot to do it. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Okay guys, I just slapped the microphone on there. I don't know if this is changing the audio quality, but we'll see when I edit it in post. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this tutorial. The amount of support that I've been getting is crazy, and if y'all are new subscribers from watching Kelsey's video, welcome. Kelsey is an awesome YouTuber, and I appreciate her a lot for shouting me out. That was really thoughtful of you, and I appreciate you so much. In no way at all did I ask for that. Like, I was in my car eating Whataburger with my friend Peyton, and all of a sudden I got a comment from one of my subscribers, and they're like, "Hey, dude, you see her in Kelsey's video?" I'm like, what are you talking about, Kelsey's video? We were so lit. It was crazy. I was like, oh my god, I'm first. She said my name first. I had a fangasm in the car. It was nasty. It was I had to clean all of it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was funny. But yeah, thank you so much, Kelsey. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm gonna have a bunch of slow-mo shots of this from the iPhone at 120 frames per second at 1080p with this deck. So make sure to analyze those very closely so that you guys can get the exact rotation. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys like the new quality. I'm using my new camera and new mic and stuff. Tell me in the comments if you like this and if you want to know what I'm using and all my specs and whatnot. So yeah. Y'all have a great day.